Hello, and welcome to All About Billings. We are a show dedicated to discovering the people who make Billings a great place to work and live. We will interview local business people, entrepreneurs, artists, entertainers, and we will learn from them all about their successes, their failures, and their connection to Billings. I'm your host, Nancy Brooke, broker and owner at Billings Best Real Estate. And today it is my pleasure to have as my guest Heather McAbee with Shifting Sands. So welcome to the show, Heather.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, it's been so fun to kind of follow you a little bit on social media, getting to know you a little bit. That's always a good way to kind of break the ice, even though you and I haven't really had a conversation.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about Shifting Sands.
Shifting Sands, it's a holistic healing business. I started it about 11 years ago, and it all came about because of actually a little bit random, but I ended up taking a session with a woman because I had this problem in my marriage, and that kind of catapulted me into the business that I do now.
So what exactly does Shifting Sands do?
Okay, so I'm going to look at someone's going to bring a problem to me, or they're going to bring a goal to me, something that they haven't been able to accomplish. So they're either stuck, well, basically they're stuck in one way or the other.
They need help of some sort.
They need help of some
sort. To make progress towards their goal.
Right. And so I'm going to be looking for what are the subconscious, unconscious patterns that are keeping them stuck. And oftentimes what we think is a problem today is actually a problem from yesterday or years ago.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
And you think, oh, I'm over that.
Right.
That happened when I was 6.
Exactly.
It's not a big deal.
So 6 is actually the age that came up on my first session.
Really?
Yeah, so it's funny you said that.
Wow. So I come to you, I have some kind of obstacle that's getting in my way. I don't know what it is. Maybe I want to pursue, let's say, a new job. Could it be job related? It could be relationship related.
Oftentimes it's relationships.
Okay.
Of course, everything is relational. Even money is a
Sure.
relationship. But oftentimes it's I'm having a problem in this relationship or that relationship, and so that we need to start exploring.
Well, and I don't know, I did a lot of dating after my divorce, and what I found is, like, I would continue to kind of create the same patterns.
Yes.
But with different people. But it was really funny. It's like, wait a minute, we broke up the same way 3 months ago.
Yes.
So what is that all about? Is that unconscious pattern coming through?
It is. And it probably started before your divorce. It probably started when you were a child.
Right.
Yeah. I also look at things generationally, so I could be repeating my mom's life.
Wow.
I could be repeating my dad's life.
Wow. And so I have a situation, let's say fortunately I don't have the same issue anymore, but let's say I have a relationship issue. I'm trying to find my forever partner, and I'm dating all these frogs. And so why am I attracting the frogs?
Right.
So I would come to you and just say, gosh, this has happened like 3 times in a row. And so then what does that process look like? I mean, obviously I know it's individual, but in general, how do you evaluate or help people?
I start looking for the patterns. It's exactly what I'm looking for. And I'm going to go even deeper than the pattern is I'm dating the same person time after time. The pattern is deeper than that. The pattern is I'm not worthy of a better relationship. Or the pattern is I believe that I should be treated this way. So that's the pattern that I'm looking for, because once we start unwinding that, then you come into greater self-love, you come into greater self-empowerment, and then that brings a change into your relationships.
And so sometimes the solution to a relationship is working on yourself.
Always. Not sometimes.
No, it's always right?
I know.
But you can't understand that when you're in the thick of it.
Right.
That's why
it's
helps.
hard to see through the weeds sometimes.
Right. And so people will come to you, you said relationships, although most things are relationships.
Right.
Could be a work situation.
Yes.
Could be problems with money.
Yes.
But you're saying even money situations happen because of maybe something from long ago?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, even health, everything.
Wow. So health too.
Health
So tell me
too.
about that, because that's kind of striking me as.
Well, I'll tell you my story.
Yes, let's hear it.
I was diagnosed years ago with anxiety, depression, and fibromyalgia. And those are all health conditions, right? I ended up doing a whole bunch of work on myself in the repatterning work that I do. And there were things that were generationally tied. A lot of it was generationally tied. And then, of course, there's things that are me today, right? So I cleared all of that, and I no longer have any of those diagnoses. So fibromyalgia, if you look at that, it's an incurable disease if
Right.
you Google it anywhere. However, I found that to not be true.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I built a program on it, had a little beta tester, and she is also fibromyalgia free.
So when you say you look at generational situations, I mean, you don't have to, get into your personal business, but what would be some examples of that?
My mom has been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I have 2 sisters that have been diagnosed with it. I have sessions that I've done on myself that have gone back 7 generations on my mother's side, so a grandmother 7 generations back. And there has been a trapped emotion, basically, that's been passed down through the DNA. And then I'm the one that came forward to heal it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So the beauty in that is now my children can be free of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It seems kind of like magic.
It does seem like magic. It's not, because our whole world is energy. So it's not magic. We just need to tap into the energy, and we need to tap into the frequency, and we need to align with the frequency that we want. Just like watching this, we're going to be on a frequency where people can dial in to the station and listen and watch. If I want a different thing in my life, then I need to align my frequency differently.
Well, this is going to get off on a little bit of a tangent, but I just was listening to somebody talking about like parallel universes.
Sure.
And when you hear that, it seems kind of crazy. Like everything's happening, but if you don't like where you are, you can kind of take a step. And that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Like you're tuning into a different station. So if
Sure.
you don't want to watch this show, which I can't imagine why,
Why?
but if you don't, you could turn the channel
Right.
and watch something else.
Right.
And that's along the lines of what you're talking about.
It is. That's
Wow.
exactly it.
Huh. So how did you learn this? Because this seems, you know what I mean, pretty specialized.
It is, and it was for sure out of the box for me. I grew up in a very strict religious community, and it wasn't really something that was kind of allowed in that space. So it was very eye-opening for me to learn about energy and to learn about generational patterns and things like that. My first session I had with the office manager that I worked with. I was a construction controller for 20 some years, and she started taking these courses in resonance repatterning and was telling me about them. It was crazy to me. It sounded crazy. It sounded like magic. It sounded like all of the things, right? And I had this problem in my marriage, and I had tried psychotherapy for 14 years and I was not receiving the results that I wanted.
You might have felt better talking about things, but it wasn't getting you.
Sometimes I did, but sometimes I
you
felt
didn't.
worse.
Okay.
Sometimes I felt angry when I left because I'd rehashed everything that had made me mad all week. So I wasn't and even inside of that, I found some awareness and I found some understanding, but I didn't find an elevation of my life. And that's what I was really seeking. I wanted things to be different. I wanted to feel different inside. I wanted my marriage to be different. I wanted my parenting to be different. I wanted my health to be different. And until I found this work, the first session that I had with that woman, her name was Norma, I told her I have this problem in my marriage, and she traced it back to when I was 6 years old. And she said, "Do you remember an event at 6 years old?" And I said, "I remember that I was molested by my babysitter." And she was able to use the process and find out that the belief I stored was I'm not worthy. And then when I left that session, I realized that that pattern at 6 had played out in every single area of my life. And at that time, I was mid-30s, I think. Yeah.
Wow. And so this awareness that something, very tragic happened to you at a young age and that you were carrying that with you.
Right.
So that awareness is one thing, but getting to live your life in a way that is more empowered instead of being a victim
Right.
of that past hurt.
Right.
How did that transpire?
Just doing the work. Yeah, so of course, awareness is always the first step, but you have to get in and you have to clean up the patterns. And sometimes you have to rewrite the story. And what's interesting about that experience at 6 is my parents, I told them that it was happening, and they sent me back to the babysitter again with some instructions. And then when he did it again, I told them again, and then that's when things started to change. They went and spoke to his parents, and we weren't babysat by him again. But what happened inside of me was I'm not worthy of protection because I wasn't removed from the situation. My dad was also abusive. He had molested me between 2 and 3 years old. He was violent. I was beaten many times and not allowed to go to school because my mom was afraid I'd be taken away by CPS. So I had this belief of I'm not worthy of protection, I'm not worthy of safety. And I really had to rewrite that story, and the way I rewrote it was I will speak and speak and speak until I am heard. Because I had to keep telling my parents, I had to keep going back, and that's when action was taken. And that's sometimes like a little twist that we need to make for the brain and body to relax and come into safety.
So that's what you had to do to move through this? I mean, it's
That's
always
one of the things
it's always a part. I don't mean it, flip, but it's
Right.
always a part of your experience. But just to be able to say it out loud and talk through it.
Saying it out loud is quite powerful. I had a lot of shame and blame around being abused, and it was so embarrassing. I hid it my entire life until 10 years ago, maybe even less than that. And now I speak about it because it's really what I can help people with. And there's so many people that sit in that blame and the shame, and they don't tell anybody, and then the patterns perpetuate. And I just really want those patterns to end for our children, for the future generations. We have to start having conversations.
And so the fact that you have had this experience, it's not necessarily that your children have the same experience, but you're saying because of who you are and how you carry it, they take on that shame and they take on some of this self-destructive habits without really even knowing why.
They can.
Yeah.
They can also be on the same frequency, and they can also experience abuse.
Oh, I see.
My dad was abused. His mom was abused. There was a generational line of people that were assaulted in my family. Even on my mother's side, there were people that were. So it just, yes, it can happen in both ways.
Wow. So once you started doing the work, how did your life change?
In every single way.
Which can be a little scary, a
I
little intimidating,
it could
right?
be, because there's also that pattern of I'm not worthy of all this goodness. There's also the pattern of, am I really supposed to feel this much joy? Those are all things that need to be uncovered and healed as well. And they can be for real with someone that had the childhood that I had of not feeling like, oh, I don't think I can do all this goodness.
So what are some of the common things that you encounter when you work with people? I mean, not necessarily, that they were abused or anything, but what kind of beliefs do they have kind of running the show?
A lot of it is I'm not good enough.
Oh, I can relate to that one.
Yeah.
So you become an overachiever.
Yeah. You either become an overachiever or you become a major procrastinator, and you don't do it.
Okay.
Because you're afraid.
Okay.
I'm not loved. For me, I always felt loved by my mom. I'm not lovable. It was more internal. There can be, I'm not worthy is a big one. Yeah, there's a lot that can go on behind the scenes, but I think those are some pretty common ones.
Right. And so that can play out, like, let's say at the workplace.
Yeah.
So maybe you have somebody, either your employee or your boss, and all of a sudden the dynamics get kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's related to your childhood, you think?
It can be, yeah.
Huh.
It often is. So what I'm hearing from you right now is where the dynamic got crazy was I didn't feel heard. Somebody in that story didn't feel heard or didn't feel seen.
Huh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So we need to meet those needs for ourselves.
Right.
So that we can actually be heard, be appreciated, be seen in relationship. When they're childhood needs, we have to meet them for ourselves.
Well, you know, the other challenging thing that happens in relationships is the other person has their stuff too.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, let's be honest, it's easier to see somebody else's stuff than our own stuff. But that's hard because this person's doing this and you're doing this, and then
right.
It's all interacting.
So that's where we get to pause and breathe, take a break, and we get to figure out, okay, what's actually this relationship and what's actually something that's being triggered. I could give you a funny kind of example.
Sure.
A couple of months ago, my husband and I, we bought a place in Georgetown Lake, and it's got an old oven, and I didn't know how to use it. Anyway, short story, long story short, I don't know how you say it. I put the toast in, and I was making breakfast, and it just wasn't turning color. And I ended up finally just pulling it out because the eggs were done, all the things were done, and I pulled it out, and it was completely dark brown on the bottom side, but nothing changed on the top because there was this wire that was heating the bottom. And so I showed my husband, and I said, look what I did, you know, this is what happened. It wasn't burnt, but it was really close. And we sat down to eat, and he kind of made fun of me. This is my interpretation, made fun of me, and he like crunched into it, and I burst into tears. And he was like, what? Like, you were just making fun of it yourself. I had to completely pause because it had nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with how when I was a child, I couldn't make a mistake. I wasn't allowed to make a mistake. If I did, I was ridiculed, I was punished, I was beaten, I was all of the things. And none of it had to do with the toast in that morning. But 15 years ago, I would have projected everything onto him. You always do this to me, you make fun of me. But none of it was him. It was all me. Yeah.
Yeah, and can be really triggering when somebody, I don't know what other word to use, when somebody hits that wounded spot.
Right.
And all of a sudden you respond in a way that maybe is overreacting for the situation.
It made no sense in the situation.
He's like, why are you crying over over the toast?
Right.
That's almost burnt.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and so you started your business 11 years ago. What inspired you? So you did the work on yourself.
Right.
And you obviously made lots of wonderful changes in your life.
Right.
What inspired you to start a business?
This work is too good to not share. Yeah. That's kind of the bottom line. I had to practice on a certain number of people in order to get my certification. And then it just kind of kept rolling. It was just, this is just way too good. There's too many people that need these processes because they're not achieving the results, just like I wasn't.
You see that a lot, though. Like, I mean, I'll just speak because I'm in real estate, and you see a lot of people kind of come in gung-ho. They're going to be successful. They're going to, you know, just make a career out of this. And, you know, there are plenty of people who do, but there are a lot of people who they just get stuck, and they don't want to do what they need to do to be successful.
Right.
And it's really hard to help them break free from that.
Right.
And it's almost like they have to figure that part out on themselves. You can't you can't make somebody do what they need to do to be successful. I don't
Right.
know how else to say it, but I see that a lot in real estate because it makes them come upon their fears
They
in a
have
big
to
way.
face a lot of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rejection.
Yeah.
You can't procrastinate.
Right.
You got to deliver bad news a lot of times. There's lots of like troubling things you have to deal with in real
Yeah.
estate or sales, any kind of sales
Sure.
job really.
Yeah. So that is all part of the healing work. If we really do want to move past those barriers, we have to look in the mirror and we have to be super honest with ourselves and we have to take a lot of responsibility, and it's a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah. And so starting a business, what did you find to be the hardest part about doing that? Because obviously you enjoyed working with people, but having a business is a little bit more than just servicing the clients.
Sure. There's a lot of hats that I have to wear.
Right.
I would say my biggest challenge right now is kind of the online space. There's a lot of chatter or noise about healing journeys online, and some of it is legit and some of it is not. And putting myself out there is a challenge for me. But like I said, I've been in business for 11 years. I have years and years of trainings, and there's people that come forward with a 5-week breathwork class, and they're saying they can heal all of your traumas and things like that, and technically they probably shouldn't even be saying the word trauma and healing together as far as a legal standpoint. So it's things like that that are a little bit challenging for me right now.
So what do you do to get the word out about your business? So you have background though in finances, right? You said you were a CFO.
That hat's easy for me.
Yeah, so that's great because a lot of people, that's where they fall
Right.
down as business owners. They have great ideas and then
Right.
they run out of money.
Right. I can navigate all of that very well. So what was your question?
How do you get the word out about your business?
Oh, it's word of mouth for the most part. I do have social media and I am on it. But a friend tells a friend and a mom tells a daughter, and that's how it has snowballed. I started in the Billings community with the Chamber of Commerce. And I was attending their events, and then you start networking with people, and this person introduces you to this person, and this person sends you to this networking event, and then I started growing the community of people that I knew here.
So kind of the old-fashioned way,
Yeah.
get out in-person network.
Yes.
I love it.
This community loves cups of coffee.
Okay. And so just getting to know people, and then that led to referrals
Right.
and more business.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how it has worked.
And so the online space, you are doing more online these days?
I have, as far as online, I have social media platforms that I work with Shifting Sands. I have online programs that I have built on my webpage. Is that what you're asking as
No,
well?
just how online clients, how are you getting
Oh,
those?
well, I have an office in Shiloh Commons, so I see people in person, and then I see some clients on Zoom. So we moved from Washington in 2019, so I still have clients in Washington that I see on Zoom.
Okay.
And at one point I had clients in Africa and England and all of these different places around the world that I can see on Zoom.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how in the world did they find out about you? Africa and England, I mean, those are pretty far away places.
They are faraway places. Some of them were people that I'd taken trainings with. Some of them were, I was in a kind of a group where we were learning how to do some public speaking, and I was telling my story, and it inspired some people to come work with me.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what would you have as advice for somebody who wants to start a business in Billings?
Oh, you have to get out there and network. And that would be my advice, is every time someone asks you if you want a cup of coffee, then you go get a cup of coffee. There's not a lot of cups of coffee that have not ended in a client.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of getting in front of people, you think,
Yep.
to be successful.
I do.
Yeah.
This community loves closeness and interaction. They love connection, is what I have found.
Right. And so what made you come to Billings in the first place?
My husband's job.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you had an opportunity, and then
Yeah.
it turned out to be a great fit for you too, it sounds like.
Right. This was what I was doing part-time. I still was doing the accounting, and I had an aerial yoga business. And then when we moved here, I left those two behind and focused on this full-time.
What's the most satisfying part about this business for you?
Probably watching people completely change. Their physiology changes. They start to glow when they start to work with me, and it's beautiful to watch.
So you almost feel like they're radiating from the
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah. It's truly healing from the inside out. Yeah.
And so the title Shifting Sands, how did you come up with that?
I was really trying to figure out what I was going to name my business, and I reached out to a friend, and he does writing and stuff, and so he sent me a whole bunch of names, knowing what I did. He'd had a session with me, and I picked that one because I thought I love the ocean, first of all, and then I thought people really come to me when they're in the sand dunes. There's this big mound that they're stuck underneath, and then as we start kind of pulling things away and revealing what's actually underneath it, then I've noticed that they could start building a sandcastle, and they could start forming their own life and creating what they want instead. And then there's always the ocean aspect of it, of infinite possibilities. So that's where it all came about.
Wow, well, that's beautiful. Well, if somebody's interested in working with you, how do they get a hold of you?
My website is Shifting Sands for Health. It's the number 4, shiftingsandsforhealth.com. That's the best way. I have email, shiftingsandsforhealth@gmail.com. I have my phone number on my website. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. So I'm on several different channels.
Well, and just from looking at your website, it seems like you have more than just, you have the individual sessions, but you also have some group sessions. Sounds
Yeah.
like you have some online tools that people can sign up for.
I have all of that, and I host a week-long retreat in Mexico.
I think that's what I saw, and that's how I
Yeah.
originally connected with you. It's like, well, don't those ladies look like they're having fun?
They have a really good time.
Yeah.
We work really hard in session, and then we laugh, and we play, and we have a really amazing week.
Wow. So when's your next Mexico session?
January 10.
Woo! Perfect timing.
It is.
Well, it has been just a pleasure having you here today. I love hearing about your business, and I'm so
Thank you.
glad you were able to join the show. And everybody, we thank you for watching All About Billings, and we hope to see you next time.